everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Jon Venus. Today we have another grocery haul video, so I'm super excited, and this is the protein grocery edition. So everything that I get to meet my protein requirements, to maintain optimal health, to build muscle, to stay fit, to lose body fat, all that good stuff. So I'm excited to share this with you guys. A lot of you guys have requested this. Everything on this table is something that I eat on a regular basis. It's my main source of protein, and there's a lot of stuff to go through. So let's just get started. Enjoy this video, sit back, and hopefully this gives you some ideas of what to get next time you go shopping. As some of you guys know, I'm currently in Norway, which is a country, it's close to the North Pole, it's very cold, it's very expensive. So all this stuff here is way more expensive than I'm used to because I usually live in Spain and get my groceries in Spain, which is way cheaper. In Norway, it's super expensive, or as the Norwegians would say, helvete dyrt. Anyway, let's start on this side right here. I found this on in the grocery store. I haven't found this in Norway before, so I was super excited. This is the Alpro Go On. It's not the best for you because it has sugar. They have the bigger tubs, the unsweetened version, which is the one that I would normally go for, but they didn't have it. So this is a yogurt made out of soybeans, and yeah, this little tub right here has about 10 grams of protein, which is, you know, pretty easy. Also like just under 100 calories for this thing. So it's a nice quick snack to get your protein up. Yeah, it has like a Greek yogurt consistency. So if you don't want to eat dairy or you can't tolerate it, as a lot of us can't, definitely try this out. I don't recommend eating a lot of it because it's not a whole food, it's a processed food, but still very handy and convenient. I love it. Then we have probably my favorite, my main source of protein, and that is tofu. So I got 4 packs right here. I usually eat 1 block per day, more or less. So I got 4 here, that'll last me 4 days. And I usually throw these into stir fries. I make tofu scrambles out of them. It's just a great source of protein. Per 100 grams, you're looking at, it depends on the tofu as well, but for this one, it's 13.4 grams of protein per 100 grams and 128 calories per 100 grams as well. So pretty low in calories, high in protein. Some tofus go up to 20 grams of protein per 100 grams if they're like super firm. And yeah, it just depends on the one that you can find. But yeah, I know a lot of you guys, again, so scared of soy and tofu and these kind of things because you've heard that it affects your estrogen levels, testosterone levels, and hormones. It's just not the case, especially if you're buying non-GMO soybeans and tofu products or whatever. So don't worry about it, do your research, keep up to date with the most recent big studies, meta-analyses, and that kind of stuff, and you will see that there is no correlation at all between, you know, soy consumption and hormonal disruption. So check it out, don't take my word for it. But yeah, I usually eat more tempeh than I eat tofu, but in Norway, it's really hard to find tempeh. I've only found it like once. Next up, we got falafel. This is pre-made falafel. You can also make your own falafel, which is even better because you save money. This kind of stuff is super expensive, so I wouldn't recommend buying packaged stuff like this. But this is, you know, pretty high in protein. It's 7 grams of protein per 100 grams. Not the highest, but I still wanted to include it here because I don't want to include just the things that are super high in protein, because as you guys know, when you're eating foods that contain carbs and fats and all this kind of stuff, it still can include protein in it. It doesn't have to be meat or tofu or, you know, soy products for it to be considered a good source of protein. So yeah, chickpeas are the main ingredient in falafels, and chickpeas are a good source of protein. This is a really good one without any oils, without a lot of added fats. So this is why I buy this one sometimes. Next up, we have this. I think I showed you guys last time, but this is a lentil pasta. So per 100 grams, this is 26 grams of protein, which is insane. Like regular wheat pasta, I'd say it's about 14 grams per 100 grams. So this is almost twice the amount, which is amazing. It's a little bit more grainy in consistency, but still it tastes amazing if you have a good pasta sauce on top. Easy way to boost your protein intake up. Again, it's not a whole food, it's processed, but the ingredients here are very, you know, few. So it's like, it's a very good processed food. So you guys always hear me preaching about whole foods and eating them, but I still consume processed foods if the ingredient list isn't too big. And then we got the oatmeal, regular oatmeal, which is, you know, you guys all know what oatmeal is. Great source of loads of different things like, you know, magnesium, zinc, iron, up to 9 grams of protein per 100 grams, which is an easy way to boost your protein intake for the day. So I usually have like 200 grams in the morning, so boom, that's like 16 grams of protein right there. Then we have soy milk. I have different plant milks that I use. I use almond milk the most because it's low in calories, it tastes good, but sometimes I will use soy milk as well when I want to increase my protein intake in a day. This is an organic one, non-GMO, and per 100 grams you have 4 grams of protein, or per 100 milliliters, so that's very high. You know, dairy milk will not have the amount of protein that this has, so good way to boost it if you put in a smoothie, in your oatmeal and that kind of stuff. So yeah, when I make oatmeal with oats and soy milk, that automatically, you know, brings it up to 25 grams of protein, especially when I add toppings like pumpkin seeds or different kinds of nuts. So next up we have chia seeds. So chia seeds are just one of my favorite foods in general, and a lot of people will say that you can't absorb chia seeds if you don't grind them up. I've never ground them up before, so you know, and I haven't looked into the studies, but it makes sense that if you grind them up, it's better absorbed, but I have not done that before, so I'm gonna give it a try soon. But yeah, great source of omega-3s, and also a great source of protein. Per 100 grams, there's 17 grams of protein, which is very high. Most nuts and seeds have a lot of protein, so you know, I don't eat like a huge amount of it, but I do add a couple of tablespoons to my meals, like, you know, into my oatmeal or into my smoothies even. All right, moving on to the mock meat section right here. So starting up here, we got some pulled beans, and this is made from soybeans, I believe. And again, not something that I include into my diet very often. I have it a couple times a week, not something that I include every day, because, you know, if you're eating isolated soy protein or any isolated protein, it could be problematic for health and for your kidneys and that kind of stuff. So I try not to eat it too often, but still a very convenient way to boost your protein intake. So if you're not cooking a lot in a day, I'll, like, you know, if I don't have time, I'll prepare something with mock meats like this, like, you know, burritos, as the package shows right here. And this is very high in protein. This is 27 grams of protein per 100 grams. Absolutely crazy, and very low in fat. It's like crazy. It's 0.5 grams of fat per 100 grams. It's basically fat-free, which is absolutely insane. Here is kind of like similar things, but it's instead of like the pulled pork consistency, this is more of the thicker chunks, which goes really well in, you know, woks and that kind of stuff. And just by themselves as well, if you spice it and season it properly, this tastes amazing. I'm gonna admit that this is not, like, you know, the same kind of level of taste that American products have, but I'm still a fan because they don't use a lot of ingredients. It's a local company, so I support them. They're from Sweden. So yeah, very low in fat as well, 3.7 grams of fat and 15 grams of protein per 100 grams. So lower than this one, quite a bit lower, but still a great source of protein. Then we have the burgers. So this is a burger that I tried recently, and it's really good. It's called the Incredible Burger. And this one is, I think it's the one that has the most, like, I don't know, it's the most similar in terms of taste to real beef burgers that I've had, apart from the Beyond Burger and the Impossible Burger in the US, which they have actually started selling in Norway, but the price is just insane, so I didn't want to buy it. And this one is way lower in fat than the Beyond Burger and 17 grams of protein. So yeah, I've had it once before, it was really good, but the one that I usually have are these ones, because these ones are even lower in fat. They have only 6 grams of fat per 100 grams and 16 grams of protein. So each burger is like around 19 grams, 20 grams of protein, which is amazing. So there we go, the mock meats. Now let's go on to the whole food staples, and first ones we're gonna start with are beans. So we have azuki beans here, and you can see that they're kind of like, you know, brownish, reddish, and they taste really good. They're very versatile. You can use it in so many dishes. Per 100 grams, they have 20 grams of protein, which is great. And you know, legumes in general, like beans, are very good for you. You know, you see the populations that live the longest on the planet. They consume a lot of legumes like beans and that kind of stuff. And where my mom is from and where I grew up in Brazil, a lot of people have beans, but they don't have the azuki beans, they have the black beans. So this is the staple bean of choice in Brazil, and I've, you know, eaten these black beans every day of my life for 18 years in a row because my mom would make it every single day because it's like a religion in Brazil. So I got really sick of it when I was a kid. I didn't like it at all. But now I just love it. I could eat it every single day. So these pretty similar in terms of, you know, macronutrients. Still very high in protein. I think it's even higher than the azuki beans. It's like 23 grams or 24 grams per 100 grams if I remember correctly. It doesn't say on the package. I personally prefer the taste of black beans over all other beans apart from pinto beans. So pinto beans I think are my favorite alongside with black beans, but all beans are, you know, pretty nice. I'm not a fan of soybeans though, by themselves. It's just not as good. So I never eat soybeans. Then we have the quinoa. So here's some red quinoa, which I don't use too often because it's just not available that often, but we got it in a local Asian store here. So this was actually pretty cheap for, you know, Norway. It was only like, you know, $3 or something. And then we have some regular white quinoa. And quinoa is one of the best sources of protein that you can get. It's not really a grain, it's technically a seed. But I just, you know, call it a grain to make things easier to understand. And the amount of protein that quinoa has is 14 grams. 14 per 100 grams, which is amazing, really good. And not only is it high in protein in general, but it includes very high amounts of all 9 essential amino acids, which is why they're considered complete, although all plant foods have, you know, all 9 essential amino acids, just not in equal amounts. So next up we have lentils. So we got these brown lentils, and then we have green lentils. Lentils, again, amazing. We use it when we make curries and Indian dishes. We make a lot of Indian food. It's like our favorite cuisine in our household. So we make a lot of curries and stews and that kind of stuff with lentils, which is a great source of protein. I mean, 28 grams of protein per 100 grams. That is absolutely insane. Now, keep in mind when you cook it, because like the protein and fats and calories don't change, it's the water weight in the lentils that change. So that is why 100 grams of cooked lentils is not the same as 100 grams of dried lentils, right? Does that make sense? So that is why a lot of people think that beans, for example, are low in protein, is because 100 grams of beans is gonna show up as lower in protein because it's absorbed a lot more water after it's being cooked, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but hopefully it makes sense. All right, so last legume is chickpeas, garbanzo beans, which is what falafels are made of, and also something that we use very often, also in curries and different dishes and stews. So this is also a great source of protein, 21 grams per 100 grams, also one of the most bioavailable sources of you know, protein and, you know, just bioavailable foods in general. Just everything just absorbs straight into your body. Every single day I'll have some sort of legume, and it's just, you know, it's one of the best, healthiest things that you can get in your body. So please do it, please eat it, because it's essential, guys. Like, it's so cheap, it's dirt cheap. It's you know, probably one of the cheapest foods that you can get your hands on, no matter where you are in the world, because of the convenience of it being able to be stored properly. And the higher in bulk you buy these things, the cheaper it's gonna be, right? So the only thing that I'm missing right here that we couldn't find in the store today because for some reason they didn't have it is brown rice. Brown rice is also a you know, protein source that I eat. It's higher in carbs, of course, but it's still a very good source of protein. And especially when you combine it with beans or lentils or that kind of stuff, but we didn't have it today. So I'm just saying that that is the only thing that is missing apart from tempeh that I usually include into my diet. Okay guys, we're almost done. Next up we have peanut butter. A lot of protein in peanut butter. A lot of people are allergic to peanuts, so you can have almond butter or any kind of nut butters or seed butters that you want, but they're all kind of similar in terms of protein content. This one is 26 grams of protein per 100 grams. And this is just 100% peanuts, no added ingredients. A lot of peanuts will have, or peanut butters will have salt and sugar and oil added to them, like peanut oil. And you know, that's not the most optimal. You can have it once in a while, but I prefer just to have 100% natural peanut butter. Definitely not something that you want to eat, you know, a whole jar of. That, you know, I must admit that, yeah, I've opened this already and taken a spoonful. But very addicting thing, and very, you know, obviously very high in calories and fats, which is why you shouldn't eat it too much, because per 100 grams you got 50 grams of fat and like, yeah, 600 grams of calories almost. So very, very calorie dense stuff, but you can have it in small amounts to make your oatmeal, for example, taste amazing. I usually put it on top of my oatmeal, just a tablespoon or something. So yeah, really good stuff. So hemp seeds are next. So we've got two different variations here, just to, I don't know. Here in Norway, I haven't found a brand that actually hulls the hemp seeds properly. So a lot of them will have a little bit of the shell, or, you know, just like a hard crust to them. While in the US, when you go to Whole Foods and buy hemp seeds, they're just so smooth and soft, it's amazing. But I haven't been able to find one that is that good here in Europe yet. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. Yeah, as you guys know, omega-3s, omega-6s, and you know, it's a great source of so many different things. Iron, calcium, and 1 tablespoon is like 4 grams of protein. So yeah, very, very high in protein. So lastly, we have the protein powder, and you know this brand already, I don't have to promote it again. But yeah, it's Vivo Life. Link in the description box if you're interested to support the channel and support me and the family directly. But yeah, protein powder is not something that you need in your diet at all. A lot of people think that I'm only, you know, muscular or fit because I'm just like smashing in the protein powder. That is not the case at all. I only have 1 scoop a day, if that. Sometimes I just skip the protein powder altogether. But you know, if I'm very, you know, in a hurry or something like that, I'll always add more protein powder into my diet and some of the processed foods, because it's so convenient. You just put it in a smoothie, blend things together, and then you have, you know, 40 grams of protein in there, which is very easy, right? So that is why people enjoy protein powders, is because of the convenience that it provides. So I always recommend people to get the non-GMO protein powders that test for heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, and don't have any artificial flavoring, sweeteners, and that kind of stuff. So that is why I choose this one. And it's also very helpful for a lot of people that are starting out on a healthy diet, because a lot of times when you're eating healthy whole foods, you forget, or you don't know how to get enough protein in your diet. So adding a protein shake or adding protein to your smoothies or oatmeal or something like that can be very beneficial, until you figure out how much of these different things you can eat, right? Yeah, I guess that's it, guys. Like, I really enjoy myself covering all this stuff. This is basically everything that I eat in terms of protein. Some other seeds that I include is like, you know, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. Yeah, but apart from that, this is pretty much all that I eat in terms of high protein foods. So I hope it was helpful. I hope you guys got some beneficial information out of this video. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Let me know what you want to see next. And as always, thank you, and I'll see you very soon. Peace out.